How's it going, Spartans? First Strike back again with another Strike Team Reacts. Today I'm joined by Mama Strike.
Hello.
We are following him more with Hidden X's series on the Flood forms. Today we are looking at the Flood Pure forms, and we'll let him take it away now.
Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are continuing with part numero tres. I was gonna say the intro in Spanish and I've got no idea why, but I just ruined that intro. But anyways, we're not stopping this recording. Let's carry on. This is part 3 of the Flood Lore miniseries. Today we are looking at...
And he actually was really close. It's just, he said it pretty much on the dot, but, you know, it was fine.
at the pure forms. So the pure forms are radically different to any other type of damage-dealing flood form, notably the combat forms, because they don't require the infection of a sentient host to be formed. So instead of being like 70% flood and 30% host species, pure forms are 100% flood biomass, hence why they're called pure forms.
What I wonder is, when do they decide to start making the pure forms? Because I know generally the goal is to make a grave mind, which will be a video at some point soon as well. But, you know, do they decide to make it along the way to help get more biomass later? Or is it, okay, we got our key mind, not key mind, we got our proto grave mind, and now we can make these new crazy forms? That's what I wonder. But then again, though, if that's the case, why didn't we see these in Halo Combat Evolved? But who knows?
They're comprised purely of converted biomass. So for pure forms to actually exist, the Flood have to be in the coordinated stage of the outbreak, and therefore they must have a full established grave mind. Now this normally happens when the Flood run out of local hosts to infect, so they run out of bodies of humans, or elites, or brutes for example. And
this only happens when they run out of more food? Are you... Okay, so... Well, I live in a pretty much metropolitan area.
Yeah.
Think about that for a moment. Every single life form larger than a cat has to be turned into flood biomass before they start even making pure forms, and into having a grave mind in the coordinated phase. That's...
Yeah, just thinking about all of downtown and how many meat sacks are hanging around downtown just waiting. Ugh.
Yeah, it's... I think the Flood kind of takes the cake for the coolest version of like the zombie plague. Like, that's just so nuts.
This happens mostly because they've already all been infected, so they have to use the combination of what they have along with the newly formed central intelligence in the form of the grave mind to start creating more units for battle. The way the pure forms that we know of at least are formed begins with the infection of a sentient host, like a human or an elite. Their non-infected tissue is converted into flood supercells, which then get attached to a restructured framework of bone that's been heavily modified to fit the flood's purpose. Honestly, no.
Okay. Cool. So that's how it works. So it's not that... Because I misunderstood this originally when I heard about how these were made, is that it's not that it starts off with the host becomes essentially a breeding ground for more flood spores, more flood supercells, and those supercells are taken and then dropped onto like misshapen and broken pieces, and then that's made into a pure form.
Oh, yuck.
Which, it's almost like a bastardization of the word pure. Right. You're essentially breathing life back into something broken, desiccated, and messy.
Not all that much is known about the pure forms and their various different forms they can take. Obviously, the three most well-known ones are Stalker, Ranged, and Tank forms, as they were the only three present in the most recent Flood outbreak, which happened during the Human Covenant War.
Yep.
However, before we cover these three important forms, we're first going to look at an ancient, mythical creature, hidden deep within the source code of Halo 2, yet to see the light of day some 13 years later. A creature rumoured to be the precursor to Halo 3's pure forms, only viewable by modding and model replacing. This creature is the Flood Juggernaut.
Oh, super cool. So, that's a really bad stop point. There we go. So, really cool. So, I actually got a chance to see these forms when I got my opportunity to play Fireteam Raven, the shoot 'em up game cabinet at arcades. They pretty much look just exactly like this. Super tall, tentacles, slashing arms, and like a almost carrier form body. Super cool, and definitely, yeah, major thanks to General Kid for allowing Hidden X to use this. And I'll make sure General Kid stuff is in the description down below for you guys to check out as well.
Still don't know if the Flood Juggernaut specifically is canon. I'm going to cover it in more detail in a video next week, but considering that it laid the groundwork for the pure forms in Halo 3, I thought that it was kind of worth covering just a little bit today. So, the Juggernauts were supposedly going to act sort of like a local Gravemind, in that they were a local form of intelligence that controlled nearby combat forms.
Cool. Okay, so this kind of reminds me of the Warhammer 40k lore. So, Tyranids are to like the Space Marines that the Flood is to the UNSC, so it's very similar.
Okay.
Take the Flood plus like the alien xenomorph in the Alien franchise. That's essentially what the Tyranids are. They have something that I think it's called like Synapse range, or I don't know, neural synapse. I forget what it's called, like the actual mechanic. I'll throw it on screen here as I talk about it. But essentially the game rules are that a certain like level of unit, like a special unit in the game, the tabletop miniatures game, when it's within like a certain amount of range of like the lower level miniatures, it gives them benefits, like command benefits, or like they're tougher, stuff like that. But if you kill that higher level creature, they lose those benefits. So it's almost like that here, where the Juggernaut, like he said, could be a mobile I keep saying keymind, a mobile proto Gravemind, giving out instruction and coordination. So that's pretty cool.
So it was also going to act as a mini-boss, with only one appearing at once, and when that Juggernaut was killed, all nearby combat forms would just die, because they had nothing controlling them. But the weird thing is, they did. They had the combat forms inside them, and also the Gravemind controlling them, so I'd imagine that these contradictions are just one of the many reasons that the Juggernaut was cut from Halo 2. However, we do have quite a bright glimmer of hope that the Juggernaut could maybe be canon. In the gameplay that we've seen of Terminus Firefight, which is the Flood Firefight mode coming to Halo Wars 2 with Awakening the Nightmare, we fight a Flood tank form called the Flood Abomination, which very clearly is heavily inspired by the Juggernaut. Now this thing is crazy strong and takes a lot of firepower to take it down. It also has large tentacles and a much bigger upper body than the original Juggernaut 2, which is why it's likely even stronger. Now sadly, it's unknown as of now if it's supposed to be a canonical representation of the actual Juggernaut that we all know from Halo 2, just with a different name, or if it's just an entirely new form that just happens to be heavily inspired by it. Either way, I'm hoping for the former. I'd love it if 343 took some things.
That's crazy though. It's like, it's excessively taller than, like, I mean, you can almost, I wonder, can I like scrub with the arrows? Kind of. Okay, so these ones here with the red circles are your under your control in Halo Wars. So this is an RTS real-time strategy.
Thank you.
Yep. So these would be like average human height, and this is an air vehicle. Look how huge this thing is.
Yeah, that's
like
gross.
That's a lot of Flood resources for just one monster. Like, that's nuts.
And that's not even the big boss. That's just like a before the boss guy. Yeah,
pretty much.
Gross.
Pretty much.
Heavily inspired by it. Either way, I'm hoping for the former. I'd love it if 343 took something so mythical and actually made it into a really fleshed out canonical thing. It's one of those things that you never expect to happen, but you always want it to happen. Alrighty then, let's move on to the pure forms that we actually know information about and that are canon. beginning with the Stalker form. So as with all pure forms, the Stalker is comprised of flood biomass and modified bones. These pesky little buggers are thin, stealthy, and agile, which combined with their powerful hind legs allows them to leap massive distances and even crawl on walls.
They are so annoying, at least to me, because when I'm playing on like higher difficulties, I got like 20 friggin' flood forms of different repute in my face trying to eat me. And then I see in the background these things ping ponging across the walls. I'm like, I gotta watch these things that are miles away. I gotta watch the things that are in front of me, and then God forbid they turn to the next form he's gonna talk about.
Well, and they also just look like weird froggy scorpions or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that is, but yucky.
Like evil crab spiders. Yeah. They're awful.
Their main method of attack are two-bladed front limbs, and they've been known to occasionally charge at an enemy, trying to use their speed to their advantage and knock them down, but these forms don't really tend to waste time attacking. Instead, they tend to stay out of combat and focus on getting themselves into strategic and well-placed positions before then mutating into one of the other pure forms. This is where their agility really comes into play. They're able to dodge shots and projectiles really easily and long enough to morph into a truly deadly foe.
No,
when
I don't
positioned
like
correctly,
how they
the
crawl.
Stalker...
It reminds me of like in horror movies where like you'll see the monster down the hallway and it does like that really jerky like lunging movement.
Yeah, that's exactly what I don't like.
is then able to completely rearrange its body and limbs, somehow even gaining biomass and transform into one of the two known pure forms, the ranged form or the tank form. The ranged form is used for, take a wild guess in the dark.
Oh, these guys are pains in my ass. So yeah, this screen pretty much represents most of my game time on flood levels. So you got all of these guys up in your face, and then friggin' General Dopey Dick over here is up on the ceiling in the back, just plinking down at you. It is, on harder difficulties, the flood are a pain in my Mjolnir cased ass. It is just, not only am I getting smacked around, knocking my shields down, then I got this dickhead up on the ceiling 3 miles away, just absolutely clowning on me. Oh god, I hate this thing.
Ranged attacks, usually seen mounted in an elevated position on like walls or ceilings. This form has 3 legs, which make it into sort of like a tripod that has really good stability when firing. However, it's not able to move. The abdomen of the Stalker transforms into a piece of biomass that sticks up and fires spikes, which are comprised of bone and biomatter, really fast at really high velocities at the enemy.
Okay, this is really gross, but I cannot help but look at this little part right here, and it just looks like he's cheering for people.
It's got like little pom poms.
Yeah, he's just like flinging his arms around. I mean, I know I'm an idiot, but it's horrifying. But then there's this little part over here going like, "Yay, you can do it!
Go team!"
Somehow, these spikes are able to infinitely regenerate, which means that ranged forms can never run out of ammo. Now, I've got no idea how they managed to do that, so as for now, I'm just gonna run with space magic. When the ranged form comes under attack, it can curl this spike platform down, which covers and protects its face. When they're in this form, they're basically a sitting duck, but at the same time, they're a sitting duck that takes like 10 times the amount of rounds to kill, so I don't know, pick your poison. Along with the Stalker form, the ranged form is also able to transform into a tank, which serves the almost opposite purpose. This strong-ass hunk of biomass is what Stalkers and Rangers transform into when the enemy is too close or when they're faced with a really heavily armed opponent. The tank has massive forearms comprised of the front limbs of the Stalker and very short stubby legs that actually look quite comical when it runs, which are comprised of the Stalker's hind legs.
He says comical, but I'm not doing a whole lot of laughing when I'm fighting.
I was gonna say, is it really funny while you're being like not chased? What's that word?
Pursued?
Yeah, pursued.
Pounced
well,
on?
No. Yes, but no. I was trying to think of another word, but like oncoming traffic kind of thing. Just like head on. Yeah, that doesn't sound comical to me. But
Yeah,
I mean, I get what he's saying of like they're
yeah,
just
it's weird
comically
proportioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, they jeez, these things are awful.
The forearms are much bulkier and have blades made of protruding pieces of bone that can deliver a devastating crush attack, while also being used to shield their face from incoming fire and therefore protect their weak spot.
I don't know
This
if I've ever
close
seen that
quarter
animation.
strength and
It's crazy
overall
that they're smart
bulkiness
enough
does
to
come at the
block their
detriment
face
of
like
speed.
that.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, so it's not just that they're mindless zombies. The intelligence of the grave mind is in each and every one of them.
Yeah, I guess I forget that part because I don't know all of this, but yeah, because they look like they're mindless, just yucky.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you forget that there's thousands of whatever
Right.
minds and stuff in there.
Exactly. Oh, this would be a really good wallpaper if I like the flood,
That's
which I don't.
horrifying.
However, although they can use their forearms to run fairly fast on all fours,
Jeez.
the tank is overall very slow and it hobbles towards its opponent
They
quite
were
ominously. They're also
studying like silverback gorillas.
Oh, they
when
had to
made
be
those,
like
'cause that's exactly what that looked like.
knuckle run kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
capable of spitting infection forms out of their face, which, to be honest, I've only ever seen them do a few times, and
I don't know if I just have never seen that, or maybe like I was just like too much on my screen at once to notice it. But I can't remember a single time where I'm like, oh my god, it's spitting more evil little babies out.
I think it's a pretty rare occurrence, but it's certainly quite a disturbing occurrence.
Yeah, that's super
So
disturbing.
that's all for the pure
Yeah,
forms.
I
In the
don't
next
like.
video, we're going to cover all the different types of grave mind. And then, because you guys are absolutely smashing these videos, the reception has been insurmountable, I'm going to cover something that a lot of you have asked, and something I'm honestly quite interested in making a video about. All of the cut flood forms. That's right, every single flood form that Bungie cut from Halo 1, 2, and 3, we're going to be looking at them all in a single video. So, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really appreciate it.
Interesting.
And I'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Thanks, Index. Cool. I mean, well, you guys heard it. So, we're gonna look at the grave mines hopefully next week, and then if you guys are really up for wanting to see the cut content ones, let us know. That's why we can tell that you guys are having fun with these videos, if you guys are liking and subscribing and engaging. You guys have already like put so much massive love in our first Strike Team Reacts video. We really do appreciate that. We'll call it here. I am First Strike Cosplay with my mom, Mama Strike.
Have a good night.
And guys, just remember, strike hard, strike fast, strike first. We'll see you in the next one.